Good evening. Happy to see everyone again. So every time at this hour, if you see me appearing in front of you, that it shows that we are, thank God, is Friday. So we are Friday, okay? Currently we are at Friday. And every Friday, that's a routine. What are we going to do today? We're going to talk about once upon a time. So I'm going to share you some of my traveling experience in the past, okay, before the pandemic was happened, okay. And today I'm going to share you something which is very interesting because to me it's very interesting. It's one of the awesome experience in my traveling life. Which I never think about it. You know, I can actually visit the sites almost like I think 3 to 4 times. That's very unusual. Okay, and in between, during I visit the sites, basically it's the lag. You know, the time frame that the next visit, almost like every 10 years, I went back to the site again. So why is it so interesting about? Because during this different time of the period when I visit, I keep seeing the changes, and that's make it very interesting. So for those who just newly joined me, welcome to Once Upon a Time. As usual, every Friday, 8:30 p.m. That's how I'm going to share you, especially my traveling experience in the past, okay, before the pandemic. So today before I'm going to tell you where am I going. So maybe you can have a look on this video clip first, okay? And then I'll tell you where actually I bring you. Enjoy the video clip first.
现在我们正在坐着船要进这个 Wing Cave 跟 Clearwater Cave，现在是在 Mulu National Park 里面。那我们首先会到那个 Kampung Benan， 那 Kampung Benan 它是应该是说所有原住民当中的话呢，它应该是森林中之王哦。那12年前我来的时候呢，他们还不穿衣服。就现在我就不知道了啊，不过据说呢，现在他们已经进化得很好，还有学校啊，政府给他们津贴，让他们的孩子们去读书。那大部分的民族在这里是本南湾跟本南比较多啊，在母鹿的这一区啊。那如果想知道更详细的话，那等一下我们到了那边再跟大家介绍哦。对呀，为了给他去了。
Okay, so welcome back again. So this time is very interesting, right? No sound. I'm not sure from your side, but I just realized that maybe some technical error. I didn't hear any sound also. But anyway, that was my boat trip. This is a boat trip that I visit the Mulu National Park. So I think most of the Malaysian, I'm not sure about you, currently with me, most of the Malaysian, in fact, they don't really visit this site. Okay, this is situated at Sarawak. So I think most of the Malaysian, especially from the peninsula, because as we know that Malaysia, we have consists of two parts. Yeah, we have Peninsula and Borneo, which is there are two states there, Sabah and Sarawak. So what I just sharing to you, it was my river trip. You know, it's a boat trip, right? That I was visiting this Mulu National Park. Okay, and that was taken way back in 2010. But today I'm going to bring you a little bit earlier. In fact, my first visit to Mulu National Park was not in 2010, was at 1998. And during that time, to be honest to you, it's like really my first adventure experience. I still remember how we actually decided, you know, to get into Mulu National Park. Actually, we were three ladies, and in fact, we were all tourist guide, but we spent so much time only in the city. So we were like thinking like, okay, if we have this opportunity, we plan a vacation, our own vacation. So we were like searching and doing some research, you know. Then I came out the idea and say that since most of the city we can reach out very easy, why not we go something like, you know, go somewhere in Malaysia, but it's not popular. So we were searching around, then we think, why not we try to fly to Borneo, since three of us haven't been to Borneo in 1998. Then we choose our site is Miri. So our first stop is actually at Miri. And we were doing the transit. I still remember at that time, the flight, you know, that we're trying to take in the flight, it's quite adventure because it's only 9-seater. We only have 9 seat, you know, that kind of very small aircraft. And very interesting also when we want to embark. And I still remember the first attempt was failed because actually the journey from Miri to into Mulu National Park was like 25 minutes, okay, 25 minutes. But we would keep circling. Then we were like, why we keep circling? But we thought like maybe the pilot, you know, trying to give us some excitement, because when you take on the 9-seater, that kind of very small aircraft, in fact, you don't fly very high. So we can actually overview the whole environment, which is very interesting. And we saw pinnacles. So we didn't climb pinnacles. That was in 1998. So what happened was finally we were circling around, I think almost like 1 hour plus, almost like 2 hours. Finally, we landed. Okay, we landed. So we were like welcoming like a VIP, even though we just 9 passengers. Okay, and then we will be taken to the hotel, and surprising me, there was a very nice wooden structure of the resort. Okay, and if I'm going to tell you during that trip how much I spent, then in 1998 is actually a fortune. Seriously, it's quite a lot. I still remember that my air ticket cost just for the round trip, including into Mulu National Park, just KL, Miri, and then we went to Kuching, and in between we have a internal flight, which is Miri to Mulu, and from Mulu fly to Kuching, and then Kuching back to Kuala Lumpur. So in 1998, just only the air cost, okay, the air transport is cost 1,000 ringgit. Okay, so if I calculating the whole expenses, 3 of us, because we really go like a VIP private tour, because it's very difficult for you, you know, to form a group. Yeah, at that time, because if you ask around, you want to go to Mulu National Park, people are like, huh? We just go caving, just go and see the jungle. Why I need to spend so much money? But until today, I'm really glad that I did that trip in the 1998. Yeah. Although just now the video was taken in 2010, that was my second trip back. Okay, so I just want you to compare during 2010, the environment, in 1998. So in 1998, we do the boat ride, and we went to the village, just like what I just shared to you inside the video clip. Also, you see there was a village. In fact, that is already quite modernized, 2010 at that time. Okay, and what happened was in 1998 is even more simple. And I still remember when I visit the village, the tribe, the interesting is most of them are actually Penang. You know, the tribe name is Penan, and they are very much depending on the jungle. So everything they have to food, you know, even any you can think of what to use for their life. So all the essential, even like utensils, everything you can think of, they all make by their own selves. So they live very simple. And interesting, in 1998, most of the women in the tribe, seriously, if you see someone wearing a sarong, that is considered like very fashionable to them, wearing a sarong. And most of them, they don't really actually need clothing. They just cover themselves. But unfortunately, in 1998, I don't have a camera. So if I do have the camera, will be really awesome. I think that picture is so precious. And I remember when we visit the kampong, the village, and we trying to support the local. This is what I normally, my practice, try to eat like a local and try to support the local. And seriously, there's no souvenir, nothing that you can get. Okay, there's nothing much you can get. So what we can actually buy from them, so-called the souvenir, is all their handmade. So they will just go into the jungle and look for beans and some wood, simple wood. They will just do some carving, simple carving, and they will just do like a simple souvenir. Okay, but usually this souvenir to them is, to us, it's like something that you can keep it, but there's not much function. Not like keychain. Even you want to buy a souvenir T-shirt, no way. But you can buy like as a necklace, you know, something to remember. I still have my collection on this wild boar teeth, and also some beans they collect from the jungle and just make it into a simple necklace. So that is then I think the most interesting also, when I try to buy from them, you are not supposed to talk. Even that what you talk, even though we are all Malaysian, but I just couldn't speak the tribe language. So the penghulu, which is the head of the villagers, he will representing. Okay, he will representing the villagers, and he will actually try to communicate us in a simple our national language, like Bahasa Melayu, a very simple one. And we're not allowed to negotiate, and whatever you want, you just have to point. You just have to point, and the head of the village will ask the permission from the seller, which is the local people there, the local community, and how much. So we will like few ringgits normally, because to be honest, they don't really need money. You see, because everything they can look for is already ready there. They live very simple. They don't even need to wear clothes and shoes and so on. Yeah, that was happening in 1998. Yeah, so I have a very strong impression, you know, at that time, and I was like, you know, after I returned back, you know, from the trip, this is the first time. This is the first time my life changing. I learned to like really appreciate, you know, what is called indigenous knowledge, why the natural side is important, and I start realizing why the environment it is very important. That is when 2010. 2010, after 12 years, because 1998 was my first trip, and then 2010 I returned back again. So at that time I returned is because I wanted to bring a group of tourist guide, you know, for continual tourism related education. I didn't go back, you know, as just a tourist, and I feel since 1998 I have an awesome experience, which is I couldn't find in Peninsula. Then I do not think that at that time I do not think that I will visit Amazon. Okay, because as we know that rainforest, besides Amazon rainforest, I think next we are referring is the Borneo rainforest. And Mulu National Park, it's one of the best model. Why I say so? Because of after I left in 1998, in year 2000, it had been inscribed as a natural UNESCO site. Okay, it's a UNESCO natural heritage site in year 2000. So if you go to UNESCO official website, you can find some outstanding universal value, which is very interesting. They cover 4 outstanding universal value. Usually in the natural site, in the UNESCO Natural Heritage Value, there's only come with the 4, okay, 7, 8, 9, 10, because 1 to 6 is the cultural, okay, the culture, tangible, intangible. But 7, 8, 9, 10, that is for the natural. And they have all. So they have an awesome view. As I mentioned, they have like a big, huge chamber. And also they have about 64. They have, during that time when I was visiting in 2010, there was a 64 cave, okay, caving. Is in fact been already explored. They already found, and they have been gazetted. And not only that, if you see my dress code, why I dress like that, it's one of the reason is because of when you go to that site, because mostly it's deep inside, deep inside the middle of the land, and it required you to climb, and sometimes it's the humidity because you are inside the forest. It looks like you don't have much sunlight, but it's very humidity, so you really sweat a lot. Okay, and you will just lose your mineral too. And also, why I'm wearing a hat to show you is because when you exploring inside the caving, you have to beware. Anything could be happen, especially like dripping the waters because it's cave. You have stalactites, stalagmites, and sometimes after the rain, even you can get a temporarily small waterfall inside the caving also. It could be easily get yourself wet, yeah. And that is one of the reason your whatever your dress code and how you actually cover yourself and how you protect your head is also very important. Yeah, so they have actually opened up the 4 showcase, and these are the 4 showcase, which is let you experience a little bit on like, especially I think those who like first time visit the cave, they will love Deer Cave so much because, but seriously, when during 1998 and 2010 I returned, I wasn't really like Deer Cave because, oh my God, the smell. Okay, the smell from where? The smell from the bats, because that Deer Cave is actually you have a lot of bats. We are talking about millions of the bats, millions of the bats. It's not talking about hundreds of the bats. Yeah, and 2012, I'm very lucky. I went back again. Yeah, because the reason why I went back 2012, I bring my parents because at that time I was with a group of senior citizen, and most of them, they at least their age have to be above more than 60 years old. So I purposely organizing that experience for them. So I bring them into this boat ride, and I bring them for the canopy walk. They have a very awesome canopy walk. And why? Because not just only exploring the caving, go for the boat ride, okay, and also understand the track lifestyle. Most important also to see the flora and fauna. And for flora species, they have, like I would say that they have many different types of the flora species. So just to spend 3 days, 2 nights or 4 days, 3 nights is really not enough. Yeah. So I'm going to show you another videos. Okay, and hopefully I can actually avoid the technical issue, yeah, because I did recording some voices inside the video. I really hope you can listening to my voices. Hopefully, let's see. Okay, so we are going to show you another video.
小心啊！真的蛮小心啊！刺激吧！现在我们要走去这个清水帘洞，这个清水帘洞，400个米的我们要走过去。所以看到沿路呢，我们可以看到河边的景色。好，那Mulu Cave 最特殊的地方呢，就是有这种红花。特殊的地方呢，就是有这种红花。那总共这个在其他的一些森林还没有遇到。那总共目前他们找到的 基本上我们只是开发4个洞而已。
就
是 Deer Cave、Long Cave、Clearwater Cave， 还有 Wind Cave。那我们刚刚从 Wind Cave 出来，那 Wind Cave 那边的话呢，就可以看到很多那个钟乳石跟石墩石柱。
Okay, so I was just like explaining in Mandarin because at that time, most of it during my excursion trip or my continual tourism related education, I was with my group of Chinese speaking tourist guide. Yeah. So that's the reason why that I was explaining in the Mandarin. And we were actually walking into the Clearwater Cave. At that time, it's about 400 meters. So you can see after they have been inscribed as a UNESCO site, they actually make a very nice wooden platform. Yeah. And we try to avoid the, that's why I say the management is very important. Because of, if not, compared to 1998, before was inscribed, I still remember we don't have a nicely done wooded platform structure. So we actually walk in. We actually have to follow the stream. It's a more adventure. I still remember most of the time we have to push the boat, okay? Because sometimes it will be like just stuck because the water is too shallow and sandy bottom. And you just couldn't go through. And then we have to, most of the time, push the boat and go all the way. And most of the time, you're wet. But when 2010, you see, year 2000, they have been inscribed as a UNESCO World Natural Heritage Site. And that's the reason, okay, you can see the platform, everything is nicely done. Yeah. So I like to share this to you is because of, I feel sometimes, as a tourism spot, I mean, as a visitor, okay, as a visitor, yeah, I'm talking about point of view as a visitor, as a tourist experience. If you're asking me that where everything nicely done, even you have like a facility, you know, and make your trip is much more easier. But because I've gone through the authentic way, I've gone through the most natural, which is untouched at that time. So I do understand now I can, especially in this currently, okay, at this moment, I can understand when we talk about the word restart tourism, you know, and rebuilding and nobody left behind. And we have to appreciate indigenous knowledge. We have to protect the planet, and we have to like include our indigenous people, you know, into the tourism and try to make it, don't let the tradition or indigenous knowledge have been lost. I totally, fully agree. And I would like to support seriously. Yeah, because when you've gone through 1998 and you see the real culture, okay, and compare today, sometimes we change that. So that is something to something really sad part. It really changed them. And even 2010, 2012, when I returning back, most of the villagers or the local indigenous people, they no longer depending on the jungle. They're depending on the factory. Means all most of their livelihood things, job, everything is, they already lost their own skill in the jungle. So basically, as a visitor, we just go back there, visit the natural site. The natural site, because of the management, they can protecting well because they restrict the people. Just bear in mind, it's not everyone can explore the 60 over cave or just keep going and you go and do the whole area because we are talking about 52,000 over hectare. Okay, so it's a very huge area. Okay, so that's why I would say that like my advice, to all of us that I was lucky, but it's talking about 24 years ago. Yeah, but I do really hope most of the natural site today we will keep preserving, protecting the natural environment. But importantly is the indigenous people. Yeah, we should change ourselves to accept and adapt their local culture and not making them to suit us, just to compromise just because what tourists want or what the tourism need. They have to compromise themselves and they lost their identity. That is the most saddest part. Yeah. So I always like telling myself why in 1998 I don't have a camera. Okay. So I'm glad that 2010 and 2012 I captured. And seriously, I always wanted to go back to Mulu again. I believe that after this pandemic over, if I'm going to organize a trip or even my own personal trip, I have definitely, because I want to see this pandemic and now we already in 2021. Okay, 2012 to 2021, another decade already. Yeah, another decade, another 10 years. I'm really looking forward what happened, to this Mulu National Park. Then I think if you're talking about my life in this whole traveling experiences, I think the most memorable and something I would never until I die, I don't think I will forget it. And something I always, it's for me to keep, reminding myself, the best story is always the Mulu because of the engagement, with the indigenous people. It's not just about the scenery because the scenery, to be honest to you, um, it's not much, maybe the 5 minutes, the wow thing for you, but the indigenous people. So that is also one of the reasons why I want my parents, I told them once in your lifetime, you must visit, at least you must have one experience in the rainforest. So Mulu National Park is always the best recommendation for me to everybody, even from elderly to the young. But of course, you have to physically fit. Yeah, you have to enjoy walking, and you have to enjoy a little bit adventure, for the boat rides. Okay, and then for you to keep exploring. But don't expect too much on the indigenous experience anymore. Yeah, because the people have been modernized, and in fact, they don't depend so much, livelihood from the jungle anymore. To them, it's just mostly they're depending on tourism. But that is also one of the reasons we need to keep supporting tourism and go into supporting the real local. And if possible, don't change them further. Yeah, respect their indigenous knowledge and let them be themselves. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the session, the story sharing today, and hopefully I'm going to replay back the first video and followed by the second video. And for those who just missed just now, yeah, can re-watching again. Thank you.
现在我们正着船要进这个 Wing Cave 跟 Clear 我的 Cave，现在在Mulu National Park 里面。那我们首先会到那个港崩本难那港崩本难是应该是说所有原住民当中的话呢，它应该是森林中之王啊。那12年前我来的时候呢，他们还不穿衣服。就现在我不知道了。不过据说呢，现在他们已经进化得很好，还有学校啊，政府给他们津贴，让他们的孩子们去读书。那大部分的民族在这里是本南湾跟本南比较多，在的这一区啊。那 如果想知道更详细的话，那等一下到了那边再跟大家介绍咯。